Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy, CEO Anthony, and my main man, Bryce Wolford. Bryce, what is up?
Oh, just getting ready to piss off the few fans we have because we're all going to talk about the Magic and they
That's
hate
it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
it. Pat's going to be like, "What the hell was this episode? I wasn't
Yeah,
on, and you guys just don't talk about anything else."
he gonna be all in the comments. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, fuck this episode.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Um, so there's 20 to 25 some odd games left in the regular season. Um, I know in the off season I said I didn't have any expectations for my team. I just wanted to be surprised going into the season. I know for the Magic fan base, you guys actually had kind of high expectations going into the season. So I'm going to let you start it off as far as, hold on, let me pull up standings first. Good Lord.
yeah.
Uh,
The Heat came into the season excited, or I'm not into the season, but you started the season very excited because your team
yeah,
was looking pretty hot, and then you really didn't know what to expect from this team compared to the last few years with Butler gone and things like that. So I remember it being question marks more coming into the season, and not just from fans, but I would say from most pundits too. And then, um, and then you guys had a really nice start of the season. It looked like you guys were going to carry some of that. But I remember when you came into the season, it was more question marks than it's traditionally been.
yeah. So currently, the Magic are the seventh seed in the Eastern Conference. The Heat are the eighth seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
Both
half game
teams,
back from us, right?
yeah, both teams are separated by half a game. So as far as some people predicted the Magic would be like, let's say, in the top four in the
Hmm.
Eastern Conference. Um, how do you feel about being a seventh seed right now?
Well, it's been a disappointing season, but not from the standpoint of how upset some people have been. At least not for me. It's been disappointing because we finally thought we could lay expectations on the season, I think, and so if you take that into account, it's been majorly disappointing. Some of the issues though have been out of our control once again. Injuries leave a lot to be desired and leave a lot of questions to be answered, even still this late in the season. When Franz Wagner has missed as much time as he has and continues to miss time up until the end of the season, um, even with the additions of Desmond Bain, with a leap offensively that Anthony Black seems to have made, it's been a very tough season for the Magic in terms of I feel like meeting higher expectations as a younger team and also learning to gel and have that cohesiveness that they've had before when all the roles were well defined a little bit better, I think. So, uh, yes, it's been a disappointing season. I think if healthy and there's been issues even when the small sample size, very small sample size early on in the season when the team was healthy. And it didn't last too long because Paolo ended up getting the groin injury that took him out for a little bit. Um, but early on, it seemed like the team didn't quite have the same defensive identity as it's had in past years, and so when they had guys come out from injury or guys come in and out of the lineup, they haven't had the same defensive backing to rely on to keep them in games. And yeah, the offense has been better. It hasn't been a bottom 10 offense. They have made it out of the bottom 10 just barely, but still, it's been noticeably better. It's still not something the team can rely on. The team's identity still has to be defense. And with Suggs and Franz both missing significant time throughout the season, it seems like our defensive identity and effort just haven't been there the same way. Anthony Black has looked better, like I said, on offense. But I think his defense at times, maybe because of the energy he has to put out or whatever it is, it seems like he's adjusting to that change. And so he doesn't seem to have the same defensive intensity every night like he used to. But he's also super young, and I feel like, going through like a major shift. So it's not like he can't play good defense. It's just, it seems like some of that has went by the wayside. And when with Suggs out, it really seemed like we were having a hard time stopping other teams' main point of attack, ball handlers. It just seemed like, and then Franz also switches onto those players. So it really seemed like the team had lost a lot of its defensive threat. And on top of it, I mean, if you pay attention to, I guess, NBA social media throughout the season, they're never usually super fair or super nice to Paolo. But this has been a down season for Paolo. Even when he has been healthy, he hasn't looked quite right. Hasn't looked as explosive. His shots, for even not being super efficient before, seem like he's been out of rhythm with that as well. And until a little bit before the All-Star break, and we're here after the All-Star break, where it seems like he's finally getting closer to what he was in previous seasons. So combination of the Magic really not having the personnel to play the style of defense they're used to playing, not having the same intensity and effort on defense, and then the kind of confusion from having the new players in the starting lineup. Like Desmond Bain has really come on fire lately, but early on in the season, you could definitely tell that there were gelling issues, silly turnovers, things like this, like just the team not being on the same page. Add that with Anthony Black coming in the starting lineup for Franz as well. It's like there's just a lot of confusion, and then Paolo just hasn't been as reliable this season as he was before. So you take into account all those things, take into account the injuries, and they always say growth and learning isn't linear. Well, you can definitely tell that this season with the Magic, because yes, the expectations were high because on paper everything was laid out and looked very good on paper. It was still a very young team. They still very much need to learn to play together. And a lot of fans were hoping for a step up from some of the main guys who have been there. And Franz hasn't even gotten the opportunity. Suggs has been more of the same, where little injuries have kept him in and out of the lineup. And then, like I said, Paolo, once he has come back, which, I mean, he missed a little bit of time at the beginning. It wasn't like some crazy amount of time that he was out, but he just hasn't looked himself until very recently. And so I think it's a combination of all those things that really had the Magic's record pretty much in line where they were the last two seasons. Now, a lot of it can be chalked up to injuries, but the other things can't be ignored. And also, at times, there's some people with like pitchforks and like real rage going at Mosley every single game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bit overblown. Is he the coach that's going to lead us to a championship? I really have my doubts about that. I don't think so. Okay. But the way some of the fan base likes to throw a lot of mistakes at him, I don't think it's all his fault. But I do think maybe different philosophies and maybe a different voice. I don't know if those will be negatives if Mose isn't welcome back after this season. Because I think outside of a crazy playoff push that the team hasn't showed that they're consistently capable of pulling off yet, outside of some crazy playoff run, I don't think Mosley's job is safe. For better or for worse, you can look around the league recently, look at what Detroit did with their coach, what Cleveland did. I know Detroit or Cleveland's coach went to Detroit. and they're still having success, or even more success. And then in turn, the team he left, Cleveland, they also kind of picked up where they left off and looked like they took a step forward last year after they switched coaches. So, there's not a lot of Popoviches, Spolsters, as you know, around. So I don't think Mosley has done enough, has had enough postseason success to save himself yet. So I do think they will make a coaching change. I don't know what the right answer to that is yet, but I am interested to see where this team finishes the season, especially if Franz can come back. He'd obviously be rusty, but if we could have the whole team back for the playoffs, with the way Paolo's been trending up, with the way Bane's shot and rhythm and team chemistry seems to be trending up, I do think the Magic will be playing their best basketball. If everybody's healthy, they'll be playing their best basketball at the end of the season. Now, I also, though, I'd love to see them sneak into the 6th seed, but based on the way the seasons went, I can't really rely on that. So, my heart tells me they can make the 6th seed. My brain tells me they'll probably stay where they're at, around where 7 or 8, because you guys are right on their tails. But we do own this season series with you guys, as we haven't lost to you guys this season yet, and there's only one game left. So if it comes down to a tiebreaker with you, the Heat, we got that tiebreaker. So I don't think we'll fall farther than 8 if you guys leap us. So I think we're gonna end up in the play-in. They're good enough to come out of the play-in. I'm not worried about that. They just, with the expectations from the beginning of the season to now, it is disappointing from where they're at. But I look at other teams and how they've made some leaps, or they've kind of come out of nowhere, than other teams who are supposed to be a little bit better, falling off. These things, it's tough to project. It's been a huge learning season for the guys, and I think in long term, with the age of the team, I do think long term it's going to be a good learning experience. And I do think Paolo is going to finish the season a lot better than how he started it. And every year, Paolo has raised his game for the playoffs. It won't surprise me based on the matchup. I don't know who or how. It wouldn't surprise me if the Magic can still make the playoffs and come out of the first round. It wouldn't surprise me. But it also wouldn't surprise me if they just stay in the play-in and get knocked in the first round by one of the best teams in the East. None of it would surprise me. But no matter what the results, I do hope we can see the team healthy, so at least we can make clear judgments instead of wondering what we do have and what we don't because we haven't seen it together. So I'll recap. Disappointing season. It can still be salvaged and it can still be learned from, and these young guys can still get a lot from it. But and I think Mo's, outside of a miracle playoff run, he'll be gone. So those are my assessments thus far of the season. I'm still hopeful, but up to this point, it's been a very frustrating season to watch if you watch every game. It's been tough compared to last few seasons.
Before I get into the Heat, I just want to say a couple of things. If you guys, let's say, beat us, get out to play, and you're looking at Boston right now in the first round, and they're spectacular, just, But we got to give the Charlotte Hornets some love. This second half of the season push for them has been miraculous. The last 10, they're 7-3. They're actually tied. No, they're not tied with the Heat. Forgive me. They're tied with the Hawks right now for the last play-in spot.
They've been one of the hottest teams in the league for like the past month.
Dude, they were dead in the fucking water, and then it looks like they've come together
and they were already trending up before they made all those wild trades at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that rook they got, he's pretty special. And then Brandon Miller is
Well, it seems to be like a lot of teams, right? When they're healthy, they are dangerous at the least, and when they've obviously been hitting some kind of groove.
yeah,
Um, you can't sleep on those guys. Everybody's been asking if LaMelo can play winning ball. I, you know, I think LaMelo is a special player if he's healthy. Brandon Miller seems to be like he can get hot so fast, but he hasn't been healthy. And then this new rookie,
hmm
like you said, he's going to be not just a good 3-point shooter. He looks like he might be one of the next generational
hmm
3-point shooters. I know it's first season, but I mean he's breaking records. So yeah, it's I like the shout out to Charlotte because they look like they're really building something that they'll be able to build off of for next season.
yeah,
Which if you're a Charlotte fan, you have to be excited about after years of. I mean, they didn't even know they wanted to keep LaMelo. You remember
right, right,
earlier this season? It's like, can we
right,
win with LaMelo? That was the question.
right. No, it's a pretty good turnaround, and it's nice to see. I've watched a little bit of their game yesterday, and they're having fun playing basketball, which is huge. Um, quick question: do you think the Magic are having fun playing basketball, or do you think the team's a little too serious on the court?
I think they're finding their joy again.
Okay, all right.
I mean, because like I guess a masochist. I even watch the post game lives, right? I watch everything that I can,
Mhm.
and I see these guys' reactions, and it's always hard to pull anything out of Paolo. Good game, bad game, they're winning, they're losing. He's really you don't get a lot of emotion out of the kid, at least when he's talking. But this year it seemed a little more down than usual. It seemed like everybody was saying that they were looking for the right answers. It seemed like there was a lot of frustration for everyone this season, and especially with Paolo, the way the injury came on, with a lot of the scrutiny he's been getting, and rightfully so. You have to hold max players, and you have to hold these stars accountable, especially when they're young. You don't want to end up with a Ben Simmons. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
I and it can happen. It could happen. But um, I will say this: it does. It feels like finally things are starting to trend up, even if all the wins aren't really falling into place yet. The consistency throughout these games, where they look like they're playing with their identity again, and Paolo is starting to have more explosiveness and starting to look more aggressive again. Even if some games the shot still isn't falling, it's more trending where you're seeing the good games. You're seeing more of the wins. It's just coming in small steps here and there. And that's why I said I think come the end of the season or in these last months or two, we're going to see the Magic looking the best that they've looked all season. And a lot of that has to do with getting healthy and Paolo looking like he's getting closer to the guy that we've known. So uh, getting back to the joy question is I think the team is starting to get that back as well. Like you can see the team having more fun out there. So um, it didn't start off that way though.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and I think it's the expectations and then not meeting those expectations early on, and then when your star, if you're Paolo, you're the rest of the team, and your star isn't playing the way he's supposed to be, it just leaves the whole team and the player open to such scrutiny that it's hard to, as a team, the Magic aren't shooting themselves out of anything. So if they're not playing the right defense and they're not winning games, where's the joy coming from? It's not from us raining down threes because we can't do that.
Right.
So it's really though there does seem to be a change though, and like I said, I think the team's getting back to what it used to be. It's just they have to do it consistently for 48 minutes, which they blew a game. It wasn't even the worst loss of the season, but the way they blew their lead and collapsed against Houston 2 nights ago was the worst collapse I've seen of the season. The Magic looked as good as they've looked all season for about 3 quarters, with like 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And in a 3 to 4 minute span, it all fell apart. And then the fourth quarter wasn't even that bad. They were fighting. They were going back and forth with Houston. But we don't have a Kevin Durant. Paolo isn't Kevin Durant. If you have Kevin Durant and you're trading buckets, it's a good way to lose. But for most of that game, the Magic looked as good as they've looked all season. They literally had Bane hit a 3 at one point, and it showed Udoka, or Ime. Is that how you say his last name? Houston's coach, Ime.
Oh shit, yeah.
Okay, they showed him on the sideline like this, just saying, "What the fuck?" Like they had the coach on the sideline, like not even knowing what to do with this team. But they haven't done it consistently. But like I said, I do think they're heading back. That they're getting all of those things back that defined the Magic in the last few seasons. So we'll see. I think they're going to finish the season strong, though.
I'll say just about the Heat. There's been some frustration with the players as far as how this season has gone. Bam specifically said he's, sick of being in the play-in. The ironic thing about that is that D Wade texted Bam and was like, "Well, you need to fix it." That's just, I mean, that's just tough love, but that's how Miami does things, right? So I'm not gonna single out any player or anything like that, but I will say Norman Powell has absolutely been great this year, especially in the absence of Tyler Hero, who's missed half the goddamn season. Okay.
Which tends to be an ongoing thing now.
Yes. So we still haven't seen a good sample size of a complete roster. Jaime Jaquez Jr. has been great coming off the bench. So now we know that he didn't fuck Spo's ex-wife.
Or maybe he did, and maybe they can just put business first,
Spo's had a rough year, man. Spo had a rough year.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
The way the roster's been since, let's just include the Jimmy Butler years too, because there was a lot of making the play-in, then too, and a lot of his Jimmy would miss time or this and that. Your team wasn't healthy, but there's a lot of play-in during his segment too. Do you think some of these injuries? I mean, I know Pat Riley swung for the fences for a few guys, or he's went after some big fish. But do you think some of this middling and some of these injuries that your team has had, do you think it, I wouldn't say handicaps Pat from doing other things, but do you think it's kind of made him, I guess, be more patient to see what the team has, kind of like the Magic situation where when you have injuries, it's hard to assess what the team is truly about. And so I just wonder, do you think you're more in the middle because your roster isn't set up right, or do you blame it on other things? Because at that point, wouldn't you look at Pat Riley and say, where are the changes coming from? Like, clearly our roster is what it is. It's been even with changes, you're still in the plan, like what Bam is saying. Do you think it's a roster problem? Do you feel like Pat Riley either could have done more or didn't want to do as much as he could have because maybe there were more question marks around the team because of injuries and things like that?
Let me be unequivocally clear. I will never, ever, ever say anything bad about Pat Riley.
don't have
It
to
ain't
say
happening.
anything bad to say
It ain't,
maybe he could have done more for the
it
team.
ain't, it ain't happening. What the team is doing is a slow rebuild because we got a lot of youngins who can actually play basketball. Um, and I like it. I actually like my youngins. So has he been stubborn as far as not giving up some youngins for certain players? Yes, because he thinks these youngins are good. And I think they're going to be good. Dude, our bench in a couple of years, they can be starters. Like, so it's a slow rebuild. Miami's always involved in every goddamn trade rumor, free agent rumor, yada yada yada. So
Mm-hmm.
the national media or casual fans don't see the rebuild that we've done with Pella Larson, with Khalil Ware, with Jaime Jaquez Jr. Like we got studs on this team that can play. The issue is that in the fourth quarter, we still don't have the guy. We haven't had the guy since Jimmy's been gone. That's our issue. Everything else works, but in that fourth quarter, when you need a tough bucket, we still don't have the guy. It's not Tyler. It's not Bam. It's not Norman. Once we figure that out, I think we'll be okay. Um, but like I said, I haven't seen a good sample size of it because with all our team at full strength, they've only played like 15 games. You know, like
You sound like Magic fans because we feel the same way.
yeah, like it's crazy. So like Tyler just came back, now Norman's out. So it's just like you know what I'm saying? Um, I put my name as the playing king because that's what we are. We are
Let
the
me.
playing king.
My dog's freaking out. You keep talking. I'm gonna let her out real quick.
No, you're good. So as far as the Miami Heat, I just don't know what we're gonna do this season. Like I said, I came into the season with no expectations because I just didn't know, and I still don't know. The only positive that I have right now is that we're still top three in the league in scoring, and I didn't think they were going to sustain that when they started the season with this quote unquote new offense. So I like that. I do like that, but they've had some lapses. So again, you lose to they had a bad loss recently to Milwaukee. Hard.
Who I will say, every time I've been looking up lately, Milwaukee has been winning.
We're supposed to beat them, but they do have a young kid, Rollins, who's that kid's special. Um,
All I know is the last, like, I would say 3 to 4 seasons, even with Butler, even before they got rid of him. At the end of every season, before the beginning of the new season, in this gap here, at some point, I've asked you about the Heat, and you've said you're ready to blow it all up. So I get what you're saying about the slow rebuild. I know you're excited about the youngins. The Heat are used to winning. Okay, it's like when I talk when we're talking to Pat and he gets annoyed and then he'll just yell, "Well, the expectations for the Lakers are different than you know." And I get that. I get that because you've won championships. Okay, the Heat, even when you have postseason success, okay, getting in the play-in means going through a season that, as a Heat fan, is incredibly aggravating. And I know, just like my excuse, I know injuries are a part of it. All I know is for 3 to 4 years, you've been saying blow it up in the off season every year. So it's like, how much longer? Yeah, and you're a pretty balanced Heat fan. You know, how much longer can you take this middling and wait on this rebuild? Because you've been over it. You know, this off season, if you guys get knocked in the first round again, you know, is it going to be more of the same coming from you guys, where it's blow the whole thing up? You know, because you guys are used to going making deep playoff runs. How much longer are you guys going to stick through this? Like, are the fans going to be patient?
so Tyler Hero didn't get a contract extension in the offseason. Um, they have to move Tyler. It's just they have
which
to
they've
move.
been trying to do for 2-3 years, right?
And here's the horrible thing about it: with Tyler missing half the season this year, it just makes it hard to move him, right? So.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm over it. Where it should be in the starting lineup. It's some stuff that's going on that um, which we might actually see where in the starting lineup in the play-in tournament and playoffs. I
I was
think
gonna
that
say, is this a common thread throughout your fan base? What kind of heat is Spolster catching? No pun intended. You can win championships and buy yourself longevity.
no,
Is there parts of your fan base questioning Spolster this
no,
season?
the fan base questions Pat, which is absolutely ridiculous. But no, Spoelstra's not getting any heat right now. Pat's getting all the heat.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
which I would never, ever, ever, ever say anything bad about Pat Riley. Just saying. But
I know.
it's frustrating. But I see the light at the end of the tunnel. So
Pat Riley could pop up in the Epstein files, and you'd say, "I'd want to see the rest of the details before I make a judgment."
I was not expecting that. Okay,
You'd be like, "I bet Pat was trying to save those kids."
That's so random.
I know.
Funny story yesterday. This is gonna be so random too. Funny story. Pablo dropped a new podcast going into the gambling with the NBA and figured out a former NBA player that was gambling and fixing games and stuff and tied it all the way back to Louisville with Rick Pitino and Terry Rozier. I never thought in my life, since Pablo's been doing this, that I would hear what I'm about to tell you. It was exposed in this podcast that a prostitute who was sleeping with the player said Terry Rozier has a big black. And Pablo read this, and I'm like, what? What is this? We've de-evolved to that now, okay?
Yeah.
What is this?
That's
Oh
wild.
goodness. It was so hilarious. I was like, huh? But no, I'm frustrated. But like I said, I see light at the end of the tunnel. I think Rozier, that contract was bad. The NBA knew what was going on as far as the investigation when we made that trade, and they didn't tell us.
Yeah, that's BS.
It's just so much shit that's like out of Miami's control that's been going on this year that we're not used to. So again, I have no expectations for this team. The basketball gods haven't shown me anything this year.
Is there anything you could see? Is there anything you could see in the play? If the play-in and the playoffs that would have you more hopeful?
I think at some point we have to beat y'all, which we haven't done this year.
It's hard to sweep a team. The odds would say you guys are going to get us this last game.
Well, yeah, but we're looking at a play-in matchup too. So, which you guys will have home court if it's tied.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Losing to the Magic, and this is no disrespect. Losing to the Magic in a play-in game, even though we wouldn't be eliminated from the play-in completely, we would still have a second game. But losing to y'all would probably be like what's going on overseas right now. It'd be pretty bad.
It's not. I would say a lot of teams could look at it as a disrespect thing, but for the Magic and Heat, there is a big brother, little brother thing,
Yeah.
and there's a even when the teams aren't good, they play each other hard.
Right.
And so there is as much as the Heat will say there's no rivalry because you guys have championships and we don't. You guys don't walk into those games thinking they're going to be easy. You guys know that they're a fight too. So I would get how losing to us is a bit more painful than losing to, like, say, Charlotte or someone.
It is. I might disappear over the off season if we lose to you guys in the play. Like the podcast might be indefinitely on hiatus. Okay.
Hey, I've been talking for as bad as my team's been. I've been talking shit because every time Pat gets a chance, he talks shit. Well, when we beat the Lakers the other night, I was like, the Lakers haven't beaten us in 4 games now. And I was like, and then the way we beat the Heat this season, I was like, yeah, you guys can't say you guys beat the Magic at all this season. This has been pretty nice.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting and seeing what's going to happen. I'm being patient, despite all the frustration. But the only move that he can really make at this point is Tyler Hero, and I'm so over the Giannis thing. I'm over it. I don't even want him on the team. Excuse me. I think he thinks it's cute what he does. I'm over it. I don't even want him. We can get somebody else. Shit, but I don't. I'm done with it. This last time, I'm done with it. And then he actually he tweeted or said something like, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, leaders don't run from challenges, they stay, or some shit like that. Now this was after the trade couldn't be made that he asked. Like, bro, come on.
Yeah, without coming out and saying what he really wants, from behind the scenes, he seems to play both sides depending on what the decision is. And right. I don't really feel like this is the first time he's done that either. I think he's trying to not be the bad guy if and when he leaves Milwaukee, and he can't do both. So
yeah, I'm over it.
Yeah,
now, if they get him, of course I'm going to support him, but I'm just over it at this point. But yeah, so as of right now, I still have no expectations for the Miami Heat. I just don't know. I'm going to be patient. I trust Pat Riley. I trust Spo. I
feel like this has just been a lot for you guys. 3-4 seasons of the same shit almost.
That just tickles you.
Even with a different team, it's the same result. And that would be frustrating.
You're enjoying my misery right now. That's
I think the NBA is in a good spot when the Heat are also good. I like the Heat being competitive. I like being competitive and still beating the good team, the Heat team. So, yes. Do I take pleasure when you guys are bad? Yes. But I also do think it's better for the East and the NBA as a whole when you guys are better. So I'd rather beat you guys when you're good than when we beat you when you're bad. But I'll take a Heat win no matter what. Yeah.
I should hang up on you. So, with that said, we're going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Hardwood Nation podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. Like God knows, Pat don't say something about this one.
He's gonna hate. He's gonna make it 5 minutes in and turn this shit off. I can't watch this much talking about the Magic and Heat.
Well, we ain't gonna talk about Luka breaking up with his girlfriend.
Maybe that's why he was scared to take the final shot against the Magic.
Yeah. Everyone stay safe, and we are out.